is what the show is looking like tonight. We'll be talking about basketball. And basketball, not the NBA that we did yesterday. Of course, we'll be coming home. The league is about starting, talking about the women's league. We waited for it. 2019, the last time Air Warriors, were the champions. But then after that, COVID happened, and we were waiting. After COVID, what's going to happen? But finally, June 1st, that's when we'll be starting. So we'll be getting a member from MBBF to talk more about this, the new format they will be using for the Women's Basketball League that is starting in June. The qualifiers first before you have the Elite Championship, the main league will start. And also, we'll touch down on facilities, infrastructure. I know Austin loved talking about that. What's the sports ministry doing? He wants to leave a legacy that when he's out, they will remember that during his time, infrastructure is actually developed, and that's what he's trying to do. We'll talk about that. And of course, touch down on the FA Cup. So many surprises. A team like Aqua United losing to a team from the National League. Yeah, surprise, surprise. There's also some surprise results also coming from the Women's Federation Cup. So these are many more we have on the show tonight. But first, we will talk basketball because we have Victor Okoro, a member of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, will be joining us to talk about the Women's League, why the format is changing this time, why they are not just going straight into the usual 8 teams in the Atlantic Conference, and also you have 8 teams in the Savannah Conference. It's different this time around. So what are the reasons for that? He will be joining us to talk about that. Austin, I'm really excited because we'll be talking about Women's Basketball League. When are we starting? When are we going to have it again after a very, very long time? And finally, it's about to start.
It's a good conversation, and we just hope that we won't take one step forward and 10 steps backward, because we know the story of basketball in Nigeria in the last 2 years. We pray that selfish ambition, greed, and mismanagement will not take over this development that we're about to talk about. I remember when we had the final 8, and you were saying, what about the women? I think that they listened, because it's very important that we carry women along. And when you talk about basketball in Nigeria, put the Tigers and the Tigress side by side, you know who has given us sweeter stories. And a vital component of that story is what they have done from league football. So I'm waiting to hear what the board member from the MBBF will talk about. I want to really know if there's some sort of stability now, if they are ready to work, if they have a unity of purpose. And this time around, if they are truly ready to, give basketball the required development that it's yearning for in Nigeria.
And let's just take a look at the teams that we'll be having. We'll start from the Atlantic Conference. Then you have them. First Bank, of course, perennial champions. They won the title about 9 times. Dolphins have won 1. Sunshine Agents yet to win. First Deporters about 4 times. Oluyole Babes also part of the team. Ogun Babes also part of the team. So you're going to be having new teams coming up because you have so many teams that are applying for it. That's why they have to go through qualifiers. MFM, of course, one of the newcomers into the league. Ekiti Angels are also part of the teams from the Atlanta Conference. Go to IGP Queens, another team. Bini Queens also part of it. Bayelsa Blue Whales, another team. Abia Black Gold, that's another team. Coal City Queens also joining. Delta Force joining. NAF Ladies joining. Kwara Ladies, these are part of the teams that you have from the Atlantic Conference. Of course, they will be playing all their games in Benin City starting June 1st. You move to Savannah Conference where you have Benue Queens, FCT Angels, Nasarawa Amazons, Plateau Rocks, Air Warriors. Of course, they won the last one in 2019, shocking everyone. We're happy with the new teams coming up, but then somehow the growth was stunted. They have Nigeria Army Amazons also taking part, Taraba Hurricanes, another team, and Kada Queens, another team also from the Savannah Conference. Zamfara Queens is there. You have Adamawa Angels also there. Bonu Kanemi Queens also there. Kanu Ahib Queens, another team. Nigeria Customs, of course, perennial always. The Nigeria Immigration also always there. Boko City Sparks, another team from Savannah Conference. And they will be playing all their games in Zaria. That's Kaduna State starting June 7th. So we have so many teams. And what MBBF is trying to do is streamline these teams and ensure you have 8 in the Savannah, 8 in the Atlantic Conference, and then you have the Elite Basketball League. So if we have our guest joining us from our Abuja studio, Victor Okoro, is ready to join us to talk more about this, because there's so much to talk about. Why are we having this? Why are we having this? Why Why do we intend to go through this process, and what are the reasons for that? So Victor Okore is joining us from Abuja tonight, a member of Nigerian Basketball Federation, and also he is the chairman of Abia State Basketball Association. Good evening. It's good to have you join us.
Good evening. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Now, for the first time in 3 years, we are having the Women's Basketball League back. I mean, so many things have happened down the line. We wouldn't want to go into the politics that happened when the league was suspended, and finally we are having it back. So why did it take so long for us to have a league after all the cries from players? I was trying to get the player down here in the studio. I discovered that players have even left Nigeria for other African country to go play basketball.
So, I mean, thank you very much. This is, I think this should clear the air for the question that you've asked. The last time we played the Zenith Basketball League was 2020-2021 season, and you know that after the COVID, we've struggled, you know, back and forth trying to stabilize the federation. Now the federation is stabilized, everybody is back, you know. We are all friends, stakeholders are working together to try to make sure everything works out very well. So the federation has taken so much time to look at the backlog of teams that we've had from the last 2 years. And the Zenith committee and then the technical committee have been, you know, looking at the whole request for teams to play the league. So the federation came up with this idea. We cannot just sit down and select perennial champions and then bring them to the Elite League. So what the federation has done is open it up to all 32 teams that have applied, new and old, to be in the Women's League. And we'll bring them all to 2 conferences like you've tried to explain. And then let everybody merit being in the Elite League. Zenith Bank has been so gracious to stick with the federation over these years, and we are happy that they have also decided that this year and in the years coming, they're going to continue to sponsor what we do. The whole idea of having the Elite League is so that we can also have a Division 1. Like Okonakpan said, the female league is, the female Tigers have done so well in Africa. So what the federation is trying to do right now is also to give opportunities to our ladies at home to experience, to have an opportunity to play, and then to also be selected. Because if you know, in the next in the next 2 months, we are going to be having Afro-Basket in Kigali, and the federation is hoping that at least some very good talents will be selected from home to join the other players coming from everywhere in the world to camp and be selected for these Afro-Basket women. So that's what we have done so far. And like you said, we are starting by June 1 in Edo. By June 7th, we'll be in Zaria, so that we can have these games played over a period of 2 weeks, and then select the best 8 from each of the conferences. This best 8 will kickstart our elite female championship for the year. I think it should go on in between 2 or 3 phases, so that you have the girls playing close to 30 games in a year. And we believe that the start point for them playing 30 games in a year will help improve the girls, help them find their form, you know, because it's been a while that they played something competitive in the country. And then the national coaches will have their hands full, you know, to look at the girls, select the best ones that will represent the country, and then the other ones playing Division 1 will also have an opportunity to improve and then get themselves to the Elite League. All this will be sponsored for now by Zenith. We're also hoping to open up talks with other sponsors to see how we can continue to improve the female league.
many questions for you that he will want to ask you concerning the development of the game and also having, basketball starting. Austin, over to you.
Yeah, good to have you on the program, Mr. Okoro. I'm concerned about the unity of purpose and how the NBBF is operating now. Are you guys united? What's going on with the leadership of basketball in Nigeria before we talk about this Women's League?
Well, the president of Nigerian Basketball Federation is Engineer Musa Kida. There is no dispute about that. Everybody has sheathed their swords. And if you've noticed in the last 4 to 5 weeks, we've been having competitions in various places in Abuja. We have had all our friends come together to either prosecute this championship or come together to make sure that everything goes on very well. And from the question that you asked, Abuja was supposed to be the hotbed, but everybody now is towing the same line. There's no more division, even in the federation. It's like a family where sometimes you have quarrels, but it still doesn't stop the family from being one. So for now, we are good. We understand that, the times for quarrel has gone. So we are all working together to try to make sure that we have the same purpose. And if you have followed us very well, the Federation has continued to reconcile all members. We are gradually bringing back everybody to the fold, and we are working together to achieve the same purpose. So we are good now.
It sounds good. Okay, I needed to get that out of the way. Let's talk about how you guys picked the teams for this Women's League. I see we've got some good teams in there. What was the selection process like?
Okay, basically, there's really no selection process. We are working with the teams that we've always had in the last 3 years, and then we had close to 8 to 12 teams that applied to also participate in the Zenith Women's Basketball League. So we are giving everybody an opportunity to qualify themselves instead of picking 8 teams. The Federation is opening it up to all the teams to come, play, and then qualify yourselves to the Elite League. So the first 8 teams from each of the conferences will qualify to the Elite League. Those that do not qualify to the Elite League will also have their own opportunities of playing the Division 1. So this year we are also going to kickstart Division 1 in Nigeria for female, which has never happened before. So we're just opening up the opportunities for girls to have more games to play. So that's what we're doing right now.
I like that. That's good inclusion. Before I go back to Cecilia in Lagos, you just run us through the program of activities. What should we be looking forward to before action we get, on the way with this Women's League?
Well, the Federation has put together so much to do right now. The Premier League committee is still sitting and strategizing on when and how to prosecute the Premier League for men. We have all our other committees sitting around the clock to make sure that all the T's and I's are dotted properly. We are also preparing ourselves for all the international competition. If I say this with all humility, out of all the African teams they were applying to host the Olympic qualifiers, Nigeria was granted the right to do that in August, between 12th and to 20th of August this year, which is a huge achievement for the Federation, because we had close to 20 African nations bidding to host, and we got that based on our records before now. So we're also going to be participating in the under 16 in Ghana. It's been a while. The last time we went for all those junior championship was in Cyprus. That was like 3 years ago. But the Federation is also bringing back the participation of the country, men and women, for the under 16 in Ghana in the next 1 month. Preparations are ongoing also for the 2023 Afro-Chan that will be holding in Angola. You know, there's a lot to do in the next 3 months. So everybody in the federation has their work cut out for them, and there's been no sleep for anyone in the last 1 month because all hands are on deck. You know, we are reaching out to all our friends, all stakeholders, just to try to make sure that everything goes on very well. So this year is going to be filled with activities for basketball.
Interesting. We are happy with the progress that you just mentioned. Now, we've talked about when the elimination will start. But when are we starting the main league? Are we also going to see another, maybe a long time before we have the date for that? Because sometimes when MBBF announced that they intend to have a particular program, we have to keep waiting. I remember in February, we said we're going to have the league. And now in May, that's when we landed, okay, starting in June. So if you're having the elimination stage, talking about qualifiers now, to play the elite basketball league with 32 teams, when are we having the elite league and the Division 1 you talked about? Because after those that did not get into the elite league, we have to start playing Division 1. Then you have Division 2. Subsequently, you have more leagues in the women's basketball. When do we have this? Do we have a calendar for these that you talked about earlier?
I can confirm to you that the Zenith Committee held a meeting yesterday, chaired by Professor Adeyanju, and in the next 1 week, you will roll out the dates for the phases that will happen immediately after these qualifiers we do. You know, everything is done in meticulously. Okay. Why? Because in the next 3 days, we'll be finishing our total Division 2 in Port Harcourt. So the Federation just wants to make sure that everything is done the way it's supposed to be done, so that we won't have mistakes, we won't have anything left behind. Okay. So I think that in the next 4 days, during the next meeting of the Zenith committees, the dates for the phase 1 of the Elite League will come out. And then they also roll out all most of the things that the teams will be entitled to by the time they qualify to the Elite League. So a whole lot is being put together to make sure everything is properly worked out.
All right, we're excited with this kind of progress that MBBF is having. Hopefully, we get to have you again on the show to talk about more of the progress of the MBBF. Thank you so much, Victor Crow, for joining us tonight to talk about women's basketball and also what's currently going on and what MBBF are doing to ensure that we bring back that excitement we once had when we're having games week in, week out, and also competing at international level. Thank you so much, Victor, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.